All right, I wanted to talk about endurance a little bit more. The more I think about it, the more I think the two best builds in Adventure Quest right now are going to be the pure builds with main stat and endurance and luck. And then the other one, I really think, and I think this one's going to become even stronger, though, I guess you could argue both ways, but it's the backlash build that are basically main stat, endurance, and charisma. And we'll see how charisma changes, but right now in Adventure Quest, those two builds are without a doubt the strongest builds. I'm going to actually do kind of a mix video here, slight presentation style, slight showcase. But basically, the endurance advantages, some of this I covered last video, it doubles your hit points. Things that cost hit points or cause you to take more damage have greater potency. So if you think about it, like many high dodge items either cause you to take more damage or cost hit points. Even Ghost Costume causes you to take more damage. Think about other things like even the Neko armor, you turn on burn and bleed toggles, those cause you to take more damage. Then you have miscellaneous, so like the Frostworm Mask is like 86 or 87 hit points per turn. The Blood Contract causes you to take more damage. So there's no SP or MP upkeep costs. So a lot of endurance builds are actually lower SP maintenance. The Bloodzerker and Blood Mage armors and weapons. So like over here, so if you remember the Bloodzerker and Blood Mage, so you got all the Bloodzerkers here. You turn those toggles on and you're eating up your hit points. Blood Mage, you're eating up those hit points by casting spells. Okay, what about some of the like these guys? You got these overcharged spells. They recently were updated. You can do like efficient versions or regular versions, but the overcharged versions are actually these guys here, and I've got all of them. They actually cost hit points for you to cast. So like for example, a new pure build with all those hit points could probably stand to reason they could eat some of these hit points and be highly, highly offensive because they have the hit points to basically feed. So your endurance, it's like, look, if you look at it this way, your endurance is fueling more damage. In a sense, you can actually, because endurance doubles your hit points, half of your hit points is like it's like taking your hit points and increasing your damage for free because you trained endurance. If you really look at it. So what I'm saying here is your endurance fuels these items. Even the Doomlight weapons, and there's many weapons you can buy. There tends to be this, you take 15% more damage while wielding this weapon, but you get plus 15 damage or whatever these statuses are, right? Having endurance makes it less of an issue. That makes sense. Then you also have new bonus to hit point, healing status resistance. We covered that. Another kind of gameplay option is you can hop into specialty armors for specific effects that you want, and your extra hit points help protect you in case of an elemental defense isn't good for a turn. So like some of the examples that I had brought in Shinyaro form. Well, what if I wanted to do fragile? Another thing you could do is maybe you want to do inflict a burn. You had GPS armor, you did the prismatic burn here. There's a variety of things. What if you wanted to hop into this guy for bossing and you do the 8-hit special? right? Maybe you wanted to inflict that permanent status potency that this guy does. I mean, there's numerous things. What if you just wanted to hop in this armor and give yourself a mana shield for a turn? And maybe it's not very good for your elemental defense, but you can then hop back out because you have all those hit points as a cushion. There's a number of things. What if you wanted to inflict choke or blind or a choke here? Even though I guess you don't have to technically stay in this armor here. You know, there's a lot of things that you can do with endurance that will actually allow you to hop in and out of an armor. Alright, so the endurance builds, you have the main stat and luck. That's the pure build, right? Max accuracy, you get plus 5 blocking from luck, plus 6.25% BATH, lucky strikes, health with initiative and salvage rolls. Max player damage. Some of the disadvantages is lower help from guests and pets, including boosters, and kind of a smaller amount of versatility than charisma builds, and I'll show off some of the versatility I'm talking about. Basically, AQ tag reminded me of something. You have the tank hybrids, you have the traditional hybrid, int strength, melee strength attacks, spells, initiative help. By having another main stat, your initiative will be pretty good. The Ranger Warrior hybrid, you get your extra damage from strength, plus 5 blocking, initiative help. The Ranger Mage hybrid, the blocking, the spells. Weapon choice, I guess technically ranged weapons would be more ideal, but over time only. Initiative help. The disadvantage, the traditional hybrid, they have the lowest blocking as far as the tank version because they didn't train luck, so they don't have luck, so you get a 10% block rate. The Ranger Warrior will have that 15% blocking, but that's it. So there's no reason to use ranged weapons with this. The ramp up for this build here is not very good. I think staff needs to revisit the ramp up idea because this build here, whether it's luck based or endurance based, is not good. I think it's the worst hybrid variant by far. The Ranger Mage hybrid has the lowest weapon damage because they're not using melee weapons. Alright, so then we come to the tank Beastmasters, and this is where I'm going. The advantages, the versatility of pets and guests and other things Charisma sometimes provides. That includes blocking, like both Bun Barrets and Pig Drake and others. Statuses, because of the Charisma inflict. Most monsters don't have Charisma, so you're at an advantage if it is Charisma inflict. The disadvantages is no luck, so you lose that, but and I do notice it, but it's not that bad. The extra hits, meaning like if you had a pet, so versus bosses with damage caps, if you have your player attacks or spells, and then you have your guest attacks, and then your pet attacks, collectively it's the best way to go against bosses in a lot of ways. Resource regen, you can use pets and guests for more resource regen, so that's the versatility I'm talking about. Boosters max out, they have to use both your main stat and charisma. It's actually the best way to go right now because dexterity is still attached to pets and guests BTH, and so with these blocking changes it's pretty bad right now. Can still block at a 10% rate. Before changes it was 0, and this is huge here. Only loses 6.25% BTH versus luck, but now it changes to main stat. BTH formulas, a plus 50 misc to main stat provides 8 BTH. So like if you do Arcane Amp or Buffalot, that's closer to 16% BTH, which is around where New Year's Surprise gives. So there's no reason to purchase New Year's Surprise, maybe other than the MP variant. Hopefully they'll do MP variants of Arcane Amp and Buffalot one day. And then I'll actually show you the Royal Cake pet can give you up to 142. And so you can actually double, at least with intelligence. You probably can with strength as well. You can actually double your stat to 500, and that will actually give you 20 BTH bonus. So you can make up not having luck for sure. And then with Hypercrit gone from, I didn't list it here, with Hypercrit gone from pets, that's another reason to train Charisma when you have main stat and endurance over luck. Alright, so I think the best build in Adventure Quest right now is the Tank Beast Mage and Charisma. Reasons are it's the best backlash setup. You're using your intelligence for guest upkeep. You can cast spells still, and you'll have plenty of MP resources. You can have summon Essence Carnage, you can use it for backlash, or just swap it over at just attack, and you'll get really large MP heals if you need to. You can use that if you don't have any of the Dread Fiends, and it was super strong in this build. You can still play dodgelash due to the Bun Barret's clever disguise or any form of celerity. So if you want to dodgelash, that's all you need. Literally, because of the 10% blocking now to this build, you can hop into a dodging armor, wield a dodgelash shield, or if you have Chaosborn armors like I do, you have a dodgelash armor, and you can just click clever disguise. One of the other advantages to dodgelash, and I didn't list it here, to dodgelash and backlash, is they tend to be not very SP resource intensive. And one of the advantages of endurance builds, and I didn't list it here, is the Essence Orb. When you have all those hit points, you basically have more SP. So your endurance is fueling more damage through being able to absorb the hit point costs and taking on more damage to dish out more damage. But Essence Orb, it's SP, and so even if you are using SP, your hit points are fueling it. You can use Charisma weapons to override type locked and specialty stat armors such as Tempest and Warpire, and in both of those cases, it will bring the magic damage of Charisma up to melee strength. You will only lose out on damage because Charisma weapons tend to take an additional damage hit on most of them. But like you can use Moglin Fan, and it's like a multi-element. Like for example, in Tempest, it's locked to energy. You get the multi-element boost of 1.2 something, and it almost makes up the difference. Warpire, while it's not element locked, it is pretty strong. It's not as strong as a normal hybrid, but it is strong. A Fortune Thief has the Earth Lock skill, the Raiment, that one Fire Locked Summer Raiments is Fire Locked. You can use Charisma weapons in all those instances, and there's many others. Staff will eventually fix the pet guest BTH to not rely on dexterity, so that when this happens, the build will be even stronger. For now, I mostly have forgotten using attacking style pets and guests. Multiple sub races do very well with this build. The Soul Neko is extremely strong with this build. It has a luck toggle and a charisma toggle to increase your BTH a little bit. It'll be even better once they fix BTH with pets and guests. You can use Fire and Bleed pets, and just for free, just eat that stuff. You have the hit points. Your pet's no longer getting hyper crit. So just get some charges up for your SP and just do like a bleed and burn eater style, and you just have all those hit points. Vampire Subrace has a charisma and int toggle, and it heals based on bleed damage up to 25%. It heals. Well, didn't Endurance just receive a new bonus to hit point healing? So now with Vampire Subrace, if you're stacking a lot of bleed, you just gained a buff to your healing in Vampire Subrace. Not a lot of people probably thought of that. Warpire, again, can use charisma weapons. It has the its own guest with the Elevone bugs, so that's nice. And so also, its panic is inflicted with charisma. The monster resists with charisma. It's inflicted with what weapon you're holding. So you have charisma to fuel its damage and its ability to inflict its abilities. And most monsters don't have charisma, so it stays pretty strong there. Also, the Necromancer class excels with charisma and endurance. It has several pets and guests, including bleed and burn. Anima barriers make endurance more powerful. If I've got 1,000 anima barrier and I still have almost 6,000 hit points, imagine monsters are going to have a hard time getting through that. Also, Necromancer has damage reducing modifiers and status modifiers based on different elements, based on how many statuses you have. It has fear built in, which is inflicted with charisma almost always. It has a plus 50 int toggle, so you've already negated the BTH loss from no luck just by being in the armor in the Spellslinger variant. Their level 120 skill uses intelligence, endurance, and charisma for its stats. So you have all three of those stats. And it also is one of those skills that gets stronger as you lose hit points. So that's kind of neat. And then my character setup with this build is, now I'm going to go to the showcase. I will kind of forewarn, a lot of the whale gear is involved, but I promise you this shit is fire. Alright, so one of the things I wanted to showcase is I primarily use Doom Lights. I also have the fire one, but fire is covered as a secondary here. I actually can hop into the fire one and go against Valkyrie Vampire and just sit there and it'll just kill itself. And I have plenty of hit points left. I can also do it in this one. I might have to heal 2 or 3 turns. This extra armor for special abilities, I've kind of traded it out. GPS armor, this guy, Archmage Apprentice, some of the ones I mentioned. I was using it with Algern's Carapace on the heal mode, which it was increasing my heals, like I told you. I can still use Dark Invader. If you remember, it does death loss, and I can hop into Warpires, which is what my race is right now, and I can just I can still do that, like that showcase I showed off. Then I also have Chaosborn Agent Plate, along with my Bun Barretts to play dodgelash, and then I also have the shield to do that. That's why I forewent. I didn't put the fire Doomlight in, because I have a fire shield here. Thinking about swapping this for Blueberry Shield Cake and maybe doing the Mana Defender here, but for now I kind of feel like Endurance is providing plenty of hit points. And so basically I'm either dodge lashing, backlashing, or occasionally I'll hop in Dark Invader and do that. I'll bring in Royal Cake, I'll buff it up and use it. And then some of the miscs I'm using, obviously these are mainstays here. I use this guy for every once in a while. This is one I've been trading out. This becomes really effective with more hit points, to be honest with you. Here's my clever disguise for dodgelash, or for just general, because I am a Beastmaster. This is basically my damage booster misc for now. Contemplating doing blood contract somewhere, because it's free as far as resources, and I have the hit points to use it. I did have mana trap against monsters that cast spells, but I tested it versus this guy, and this guy was outperforming mana traps, sort of the little backlash that cast spells. This guy was actually outperforming it by quite a bit. And then finally, you have the Obsidian Cloak, the Spell Slinger. And then when I use Obsidian Cloak, I hop into basically dual darkness boosters. And what I'll do is I'll kind of show you. I'll start there. So hopping in it gave me a barrier, 450. I have seen it approach 700. And I'm thinking that endurance plays a role on how much this barrier is in the beginning, at least when you hop into it. This weapon here, I've been testing it to see if I could get it to do a spell boost to all spells. I use Exalted Unity. Like I can do, like for example, I'll just empower my darkness, or now I also have the auto hit ability. I'll go ahead and keep Doomlight shields, and then so with all these boosts, so the other thing too is what I can do is Royal Cake. And then that's 142 int, and that'll last 2 rounds. It's around 62 or 65 without charisma, which is another reason I'm utilizing this over luck. And then again, MP's easier to regenerate than SP a lot of times if I don't want to use my hit points. So in this setup, I have 350 plus 142, so 492 int. If I wanted to, I could go ahead and make it 500. So now I've doubled my BTH and my damage from stats based on intelligence. And what I'm going to show is I'm going to go ahead and grasp essence and rend mana, and you'll see the damage with all these boosts. Insane. And in fact it bugged out. I've got I think it listed it twice. I hit so hard it bugged out. And I forgot to even come back with this guy, and it hit that hard versus 130. Intellect boost is still there, so it lasts 2 rounds. This time I'm going to do Unravel Blood. There is only 0.125, so it's not going to boost it that much, but you'll see what kind of boost this is. So that would probably be basically a full heal to my MP. And this so now I'm going to do Arcane Amp. I'm going to go ahead and, because I'm going to end this probably right here. This is Grass Essence without fear, and then that's quite a bit. as you can see, no misses, large damage, and I'm not even consuming fear or very little bleed to get it. Also wanted to point out one more thing with this setup. The celerity on this pet can fail. I don't know when they changed that. I think they changed that. I don't have the normal like Polala boosters in here. I thought about trying to find a way to fit that in, but with all these boosters as it is, I just wanted to show off. This is without Lucky Strikes, and you can do this with the pure version, and with Lucky Strikes, and this would be ridiculous. But like if I wanted to siphon life, you'll see what this looks like. That's just 763, so that's a decent heal. But I wanted to go ahead and go here. Oh, didn't mean to do that. I wanted to heal my MP, 1860. That's pretty significant in Spellcaster Lean. You could probably just survive just on this one spell alone. Again, you have this guy for backlash if you wanted to just heal your MP. You know, obviously you can heal. That's low damage because it hit darkness. And I still have all these barriers. Obviously this isn't a very tough monster. Can come over and play backlash. Actually, what I'm going to do, and then I'll show backlash. So actually, I'm going to switch over here to, I'm going to show one other thing. Let me just end this. So a lot of people don't talk about the Ghost Hound for some reason. Maybe it's because fear's not a good status to use against bosses, but you know, if you really want to get yourself some fear, I mean some SP, just inflict fear, 4 rounds, 50%. And your Ghost Hound will do, it's about 1,000 SP. So that's the harm version. And then it'll get a little bit better if you're able to. I don't know, I might kill the guy here. Let's see. More fear, so fear will increase slightly. You know, if you can get fire or darkness up pretty high, you get or cast fear a couple times in the switch, you'll heal your SP like nothing. Alright, so now I'm going to show dodge lashing with the same build. I'll come over to Chaosborn, and what's convenient about this guy is it costs 35 hit points and you get +2 blocking per turn. And then it costs another 35 hit points to inflict dodge lash. I have plenty of hit points to absorb that. Doesn't really matter what weapon I use, but I'm going to go ahead and equip the weapon it comes with. Go ahead and equip this guy. Can go a couple ways. Clever disguise. So now I'm going to get 85 blocking. But there's so many lines here. It's not listed. Oh yeah, there it goes. It's listed there. So basically, that's enough to almost never be hit. So I could just sit here, block, 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 block. Then when I run out of SP, I'll just use Essence Orb. I'm not losing many hit points. Can't be hit, can't be hit, can't be hit. And it's because of the 10 blocking that I have, and because of Charisma. Also, this misc takes off 4 BTH. So this armor is giving me 2 per turn, plus the 4 here, plus the 85 here. I mean, this can go up to 12. That's 16 and 85. That's not, what, 101 total blocking at full buff. See if I go first. Nope. It's probably going to hit me here. Alright. And this armor also takes, in order to do this, it takes more damage. But I'm an endurance build now. Right? So I have the hit points to be able to fuel it. And this guy will miss me most of the time, if not every time. I think this guy has a BTH lean, to be honest with you. It's positive, so he does hit me every once in a while doing this. Maybe not after so many turns. Another way you can go is equip Summoning Stone and then just use like Shield Cakes or Shadow Feeder or the Royal Pet and get celerity, even though the Royal Pet actually will not give your pet celerity. Just sit here and mostly block, and I could sit here all day and mostly block. This takes some time. Hit me there. So it's a little bit risky. This guy, I'm almost positive, has a BTH lean of some kind. He's one of the very few monsters that will hit me from time to time. Alright. So in that case, I probably could inflict like a small blind and then I would be protected. It's probably less than 10% rate. And then I want to end this by showing off Backlash. I believe Backlash was calculated assuming basically, what is it, 13%. I think that was kind of a mistake because I think it should be normalized. I think what they're going to do is they're going to eventually take Backlash, kind of like with Jelly Pet, like it heals irregardless of the damage it does based on the monster's element until you inflict an Elevon. I think they're going to do something similar, this is my guess, with Backlash to normalize and stabilize the Backlash damage. Because this guy's going to hit me with water, and I'm 95% to water. Then if I'm equipping nothing but backlash stuff, like this, and I like to do my Elevon's Runic Binding and the Affinity Gauntlet and attempt those things, and that just increases my backlash, and I wouldn't be surprised if it killed itself. So if you notice, I still have 5,449 hit points. There's also 2 or 3 miscs that, like the Urt of Osiris, there's a darkness one that's a Z token item that have like light resistance and darkness resistance, but then instead of having the damage, it allows the full damage and heals back. I use that versus Tibbles, the light one, a lot of times instead of the Zardade, and what ends up happening is he hits me with a lot of light attacks, and the Energy Doom Light has a secondary to light, so you're able to heal that back at full damage, and then they just kill themselves and you're just like not even really touched, to be honest with you. Alright, I'm gonna show a couple things here and end this. I'm gonna come back to the void. Alright, instead of dodgelash, I'm going to backlash. Now, if this guy attacks me with water, I might get kind of fucked up here. Sometimes I'll just do Zardade just to kind of be careful. But I'll just do the Frostworm Misc this time. We'll see what happens. It's just fire. Alright. And then I think this next attack, most likely, he'll kill himself. And there's a quick 2,305,000 gold. But I have gold capped the last 3 days in this armor, just fighting Wabio. The battles are not as fast, but his gold is twice what I just got. Okay? His gold amount, now I have given myself one of those golden gift boxes where you get a 5% boost for the week. So his gold is 4,660,000. So 17 battles and you gold cap at level 150 as an ex-guardian. So all I pretty much do is I'll cast Runic Binding a couple times. This doesn't regularly inflict, but I got it this time. If I'm able to inflict it a couple times, it'll probably cut down a whole turn. As you can see, I'm now got more hit points than the monster. I don't have to do anything special. The only thing that's costing me SP is my toggles for my Doomlight, so it's not resource hog in that regard. So maybe 4 to 5 turns, and it's 4.6 million gold. So I can sit here and do 4 to 5 turns and get 4.6 million gold all day, to be honest with you. And I've already been doing this a little bit, and probably getting pretty close to gold capping for the 4th day in a row. I had under 100 million when I started doing this and testing. Already at 520 million. All it takes is 17 battles against this monster. Well, there you have it. Yeah, it's a lot of pay-to-play items to do this, expensive pay-to-play items to do this, but I think those items really bring out this build. But there's Bloodzerker, there's Blood Mage, you could even do all spellcaster armors in this build, and just do the overcharge spells that cost hit points, and it's gonna be quick farming. You're just gonna mow stuff down, and you'll have the hit point to boot, and your accuracy is not really affected that much. Just equip a Misc, cast Arcane Amp, and then zap a monster, kill it. Next battle, a Misc, Arcane Amp, zap a monster, and you're done. So I really feel like the endurance builds are going to be the wave of the future unless staff makes changes. But anyway, there you have it.